Hi YouTubers, this is Bob Hickman. It is so good to be back with you. Well, before we get into talking about Amy Winehouse today, I wanted just to take a few moments to come and say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you who have been just wonderful and so kind to me as I have been in mourning for the loss of my dear friend Rusty. It's been a very hard week for me, and I just haven't been up to doing a video. But last night it came to me while I was laying in bed thinking about everything over the last week. Rusty would be the last person to tolerate me sitting around crying, being depressed. She'd say, "Bob, the show's got to go on." You know, when we did theater together, she was always like, "It didn't matter what happens, like, you committed, you got to go on." She taught us professionalism, she taught us fortitude, and her strictness made us strong. I like that. So in the best tradition that was Rusty, the show is going on, and I'm back. So thank you for your support. You know, so many of you have been also writing, and let me tell you, I'm feeling also the great sorrow that's coming in from all over the world about Amy Winehouse. And a lot of people have been saying, "Bob, have you gotten messages from Amy?" Honestly, no, I haven't. I've been dealing with my own grief with Rusty. But I've been sad about Amy also, because I admired her. And I know some of you are going to say, "Bob, you've got to be kidding. You liked her. She's all strung out on drugs and alcohol." Yeah, I did. Because I didn't really see so much of that side of her. I saw her as a spiritual person, a person on a journey. You know, I really believe that Amy Winehouse came here with a mission and a gift. To inspire, to create beautiful music, and to uplift the consciousness of our world. I also believe that she was an incredibly sensitive person who was an empath. An empath is somebody who takes into themselves all the energy around them. Now, empaths can draw that energy in for creative purposes, and I think she did that a lot. But sometimes empaths can become overwhelmed by all of that energy. And I think that's also what happened with her. You know, I think that she felt things so deeply. And I really, truly, honestly believe that she was an incredibly spiritual person. And, you know, spiritual people struggle sometimes in this world because they have a vision of beauty and of truth and the light of the other side. And sometimes they just want to express that. Sometimes there aren't words that exist even in this life that can capture it. And some of these people, like Amy Winehouse, I believe, was so connected to the other side that they really missed it. They were homesick. And I really believe that her alcohol and her drug issues were connected to her longing for the other side, for missing the light that she knew. You see, everybody comes from over there. We all do. We all live in the spirit world, and then we come to earth. Amy Winehouse was one of those people as well. And I think that this world, as stimulating as it was also overwhelming. And sometimes the noise of this earth and this life became too much, and to shut it out, she tried to drown it with alcohol and with drugs. A lot of mediums do this as well because they're so connected. They get so much information. They get overwhelmed. Arthur Ford, who was a wonderful, famous medium who died in the early 70s, was a terrible alcoholic. He was still a wonderful man and a brilliant psychic. And I've done readings for friends of his who personally have told me about him. And, you know, I think Amy Winehouse, at her core, was an amazing, spiritual, gifted, beautiful person who got overwhelmed by the world. So we shouldn't look at her and judge her. You know, we should never judge anybody because we don't really know what they go through on a deep level. You know, I'm sure there are people watching this video who are understanding this. Maybe you've had your own issues with drugs and alcohol, and you're sitting there saying, gosh, Bob, you're right. It is overwhelming, this life. This life can be hard. And drugs and alcohol are not the answer. But I also understand what takes people to that point. So, you know, let's look at Amy for the beauty that she brought to the earth. Let's understand her message. It was one of creativity. It was a message of expression. She expressed herself. She inspired people. She had her wild hair. I loved her hair, by the way. I always thought she looked great. I liked her makeup, too. You know, a lot of people know she was imitating a 1960s style. Everybody said, oh, that's really new. I've never seen that look. Well, if you've been around a little bit, you kind of know that the makeup and the hair really was a replay of something that happened in the early 60s. But you know what? She did it, and it worked for her, and she looked great. I thought she was beautiful. I heard today on the news that her father did a beautiful act. He went to her house to clear stuff out, and he had a big armload of clothes, and Amy's fans were holding a vigil outside. And he went out and he handed out her clothes to people at the vigil. And he said, Amy would do this. She would just want you to have, you know, that's how she'd give stuff away all the time. And he said she'd want her fans to have her clothes. So he went to the crowd, just gave out stuff out of the house. I think that's beautiful. And I think we can learn a lesson from that generosity. You know, Amy was all about being close to her fans. She never got so big she just shut people out. Really, she did a lot of good. And that's the part that the media never tells you about, you know. And I can tell you as a psychic that I looked at her aura once when I saw her in an interview. And what I picked up was a soul that was trying to live. That it was like energy bursting, for she wanted to live and to love. And I also saw weights on her spirit. She felt a little overwhelmed, like she had to carry the weight of the world sometimes. But everything she did, she really did do in love. She, in her heart, was a good person. I'm telling you right now, I will not receive any hostile comments about her on this channel. And if there's anybody, because I've already heard some Christian ministers say, oh, she's in hell, she was Jewish, she rejected Christ, she was evil, she did drugs. Listen, don't believe that crap. What happens when you die is you go back to that light that you came from. And in the light, you get to kind of reconcile what went wrong, what went right. And there's no judgment there. It's all love. So listen, I don't want you listening to those people, the haters, the negative, who want to take everything and turn it into doom and gloom, because that's not what it's about. So I'm telling you today, I haven't yet heard from her, but I've sent out a message call to the spirit world, said I'd like to hear from her, and I'll let you know if I get a message. My spirit people have told me she's over in the light, and she's at peace. So that makes me very, very happy. Guys, thanks for being here at Spirit Channel. I promise you we'll get back to a more normal schedule. Thank you for being patient with me during my mourning, my grief. And I promise you this upcoming week we will have messages from the spirit world. Because as my drama teacher Rusty taught me, the show must go on. So I'm back, and I'm not leaving you guys, so don't worry. Somebody wrote me a letter, and they said, Bob, you look so sad in your last video, we thought you were going to just leave YouTube. And we didn't see any videos for several days. No, I'm not going anywhere, guys. If I left my post here, Rusty would slap me. She would. Anyways, if you're tuning in, this is your first time here, I'll put a link below to my previous video so you can see who Rusty is and what that's all about if you don't know. But guys, thanks for being here, and let's all remember to send light and prayers to Amy Winehouse so that her soul will heal and she'll move on with her journey. God bless all of you. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.